My name is Aaron Pierce, and this is my CS50P Programming with Python final project. I'm a U.S. citizen, resident of Taiwan, and currently staying in the Philippines. When I go to the ATM in the Philippines and withdraw from my Taiwanese bank account, I'm withdrawing pesos but really spending NT dollars. The idea behind my project is to make tracking that easier to do. My project has two main files. First is the project file, as per the specifications of the project, but that's really just an implementation for my much longer module file. The Exchange Data module handles requesting, manipulating, storing, and updating API and some user input data. It is an object-oriented approach with an Exchange Data object that has various attributes for exchange query and transaction recording. There are several ways to use the exchange rate calculator and spending tracker. Upon the first use of this implementation, the user will be asked for an API key, and provided no command line arguments were used, it will also prompt the user for the initial 3-letter currency codes. This will generate some JSON files to store data and send the user into a query loop until the exit command is entered. The next substitute will recall the currency's last use and send the user directly into the query loop using those currencies again. To change currencies, the user only needs to pass the desired currency codes as command line arguments. The first code will always be the base currency. If an invalid code is entered, the user will be reprompted. Any number of codes can be used with this function, from 2 to 160, but 2 or 3 should meet most needs. By entering the values and currencies as command line arguments, the user can calculate a single exchange without entering the query loop, or even just enter the value and use the last used currencies. By entering rates, followed by 2 currency codes at the command line, the user can see the exchange rates between these currencies as floating point values, or followed by 1 currency code to see all rates for that specific currency. These are both returned from static function calls in my module. To enter into transaction recording, the user can enter -r as a command line argument. The first time this function is used, the user will be prompted for the currencies they want to record, as these are stored separately and probably won't need to be changed. In the recording loop, the user will be asked for the value and category for each transaction. These will be saved in a CSV file, which means transaction history and calculates the total values as each new transaction is entered. Just as before, the user can avoid the recording loop by entering -r, the amount, and the category as command line arguments. Simply entering -r and the amount will use a default category. A little beyond the scope of this project, but I am proud to report that my Exchange Data module has functionality beyond my project's implementation, and here's a little peek of where I'd like to take things next. The GUI of the Exchange function works without changes to the module. I still have a bit more to learn before I can implement spending tracking. So, thanks to Professor Malin and the CS50 team for another fun class. That's my project, and this was CS50P.